Okay, so today's topic is a little bit of a weekend kind of thing. It is something that we usually don't always do, but I think when there's certain market conditions, and especially if you're very new to the group, the usual webinars are always every Monday, Singapore time. We alternate due to the fact that we do have a good mix of people or folks in the US and folks in Europe as well. So we usually alternate between 7 p.m. Singapore time and 10:30 a.m. Singapore time. In either case, especially for the one that is at 7 p.m., usually the folks in Europe at least can possibly join us live. Whereas if they are at the Eastern Standard Time, they are obviously not able to join. So we try to alternate to be fair to keep up and be fair to everybody. So in this case, this particular webinar today is just to address why the markets are tanking. I think the why is purely just for the fact that people would like to suppress the price of Bitcoin to their intended point for two things. One, they already own. Okay, so let's just put it in perspective on how you can push down the price, right? And why would you push down the price? Honestly, sometimes they do it with based on zero reason. And what's very adorable is that a lot of people are finding reasons why the price is going down or why the price is going up. Okay, so let's say if I was a manipulator, okay, a whale, a manipulator, I would want to push the price down based on certain outcomes that I would want so that I'll be profitable. That's the only reason. Anything from an infrastructural standpoint, right? It's not my concern because these things are just out of my control. What's in my control is that if I can move the market collectively with other people, I would do so because I am able to do so. So let's say, for example, right, as the cost of Bitcoin goes down, and if I take a position, in this case, obviously a short position somewhere, right, I am able to profit from the downtrend. So we all know that. And not only that, I can buy back the Bitcoins when I suppress the price. So either I get someone else to do it, or I am someone who will do it on my own, or we do it together, okay, and we profit together. Other than that, right, when you look at the okay, so what's the thing that we can do now as investors, or at least retail traders? We only can try to anticipate what the fuck these people are doing. Technical indicators and drawing data and pulling API can be correct to a certain extent. So as long as we are kind of in tune with what these people are doing, we try to anticipate. Okay, not that we know, right? Okay, there's no way that we know unless we have friends who are in the OTC markets, or at least they are the ones that are on the front line as per se, anticipating what's the market movement. Okay, you have to dive very, very deep when we talk about this. I did mention before that there are, if you have friends who are in the OTC game, or at least you have friends who are traders in the institutional level, that will be a really one-up kind of thing. Or you need to go to certain events to kind of, you know, try to network with these people, so you have a sense and feel about what's going on. But like I said, why are they willing to divulge information when there's a certain order? As an institution and as an institutional prop trader or trader, you should not even reveal your client or your company's activities. You should not do that. Like I said, it is happening at the moment. So BTC is literally a currency, okay, a digital currency that is priced in such a way that only the next person who is willing to buy higher, that's how you get that pricing. If you talk about adoption and all that, you know, your Bitcoin Cash having adoption, all that is pure fucking BS. You know, it's all fucking BS. I don't see enough adoption for that actual real demand to hold a currency. The reason why you would hold a currency is to keep it stable. Okay, and at the moment, nobody wants to keep it stable. If I can make money from all this volatility and I screw people over and over again, I will do it. I will do it. There's no reason. So right now, right, let me address CG recommendations first. Okay, CG recommendations cannot help you to predict. CG recommendations cannot predict the price of BTC all the time. And when we make a recommendation for these projects in the altcoin space, okay, let me be very, very straightforward. A token is not a security. At the same time, a token is not an equity. Okay. Now, does that even make does that even mean anything these days, especially for the millennial space? Okay. Yes and no. Okay. Shares, okay, let's just put it this way. Shares, you don't really own them. Okay. They are always held in custody by either the brokerage or a third party custodian. They are holding your shares when you purchase it, right? And these days, most people buy growth stocks. Okay, growth stocks don't pay any dividends. It's literally the market willing to buy it off me when I purchase it at a lower price, and hopefully I can sell it off to someone else at a higher price. To me, it is really no difference. But the key difference is that I am able to at least have some kind of valuation model, right? That's where you have your price earning ratios. You look at revenue. You understand the operational costs. You look at P&L. There's something to look at. There's a product. There's sales, revenue, book value. Does this company have tangible assets? Right now, the crypto space does not share all this information. Nothing more than roadmap, website update, SDK. How do I put a price on all these things? How? As a developer, you definitely cannot tell me that if an SDK comes up for a project, it costs this much. Eventually, it will equate to certain future value. It cannot, right? So this is kind of like we are in this kind of space where everything is a perception. Okay, so that is why we really kind of shrunk our recommendations to a small group of cryptocurrencies. If you look at our recommendations, right, more or less the reason why it kind of steps out at certain boundaries is so that we don't lose out on the potential ROI that certain projects can give us, right? But if you look at the current trend, if you look at Huobi, if you look from a business standpoint, right, there's no reason why you shouldn't buy it. But the fact that it's in the crypto realm, it is still pulled down by certain market forces, and it is costly to maintain the price. Okay? But why would you maintain the price? A, you only want to keep your investors happy, or you believe that you want to create some kind of stability in your ecosystem. That is the only reason. Because to maintain all this, it costs money. All right. So for even Binance, look at Binance. Binance is like a beast. But if they're doing certain activities that are not favorable, the cost to maintain is free as per se. You get what I'm saying? See, if I want to prop up my currency, right, I have to do a few things. One, I definitely have to print a decent amount of it. But if I cannot print a decent amount of it, then there has to be. You see, if let's say we talk about the multiplier, if BTC drops say 1%, and altcoins will move anywhere from 5 to 10% depending on how there's always a multiplier. So it's either a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10%, something like that. So the more shit you are, you notice, right? The more shitty a project is, right? You notice the downside, and the downside seems to be more, okay? But when you talk about upside, right, then there has to be a cost involved to push the prices up, so on and so forth. There is a mechanism behind it, but because I'm not some kind of mathematician, I cannot explain the formula or whatever, but it's just the way it is. So if we are now recommending two centralized exchanges, you see, one appears to be compliant. because they are moving to Malta, but they're not like really approved by certain governments, if you think about it, or else they wouldn't be operating Malta. Whereas the other one, which is definitely moving towards legitimacy, as you can see, they are already they purchased Plantronics or something like that, right? It's a hardware company which is irrelevant, right? They did a takeover, but of course everyone's anticipating an IPO, so it kind of like boils down to okay, then the millennials will be thinking, shit, okay, you're going to be tentatively IPOing, then what does that leave me? So this whole space is now evolving in a way, but what I see is that eventually, because there's an introduction of security tokens, okay, the millennials might actually be reintroduced to equity again. Okay, this is kind of like how I'm seeing it. Because why would you offer security tokens or come up with the concept of security tokens? Because people can finally own their shares, as per se, right? And of course, naturally, it runs the risk of whether or not you are able to keep your shares safe. Obviously, it's no longer like in the past where you own a stock certificate of something. Right now, it's like, oh, okay, shit. I don't want to touch shares because firstly, everything seems overpriced, blah, blah. Because if the perception is such, right, then it belongs to the old world. You know, the stock market belongs to the old world, and the millennials, which is the current, the new money as per se, right, will not really want to participate, because we millennials, we want to participate with what is cheap, right, or at least what we perceive as cheap, right? If you talk about the current behemoths that we're looking at, the stocks are 100 to 200 $300. It's not very appealing, and it only appeals to hedge funds, pension funds, fund houses, right? People who are moving billions and billions of dollars. But the average Joe will be like, fuck, man, I can't even own like a decent amount of Amazon shares for me to make sense to create a portfolio. So end of the day, right, because it's one share, right? You cannot fractionalize that one share. Let's say I want to buy $50 of Amazon. Like, no, you can't do that. And actually, American stocks are very friendly as per se. You can buy one share. I'm not sure whether anywhere in the world you can just buy one share, because in Singapore it used to be 1,000 shares that would be considered one lot. Then after that, because the volume was so fucked up, they had to reduce it to 100 shares for one lot. So the minimum order was reduced. So I'm glad that people like the SGX kind of realized that. But I think in the US, you are able to buy one share. Okay, so you can't fractionalize that one share, especially if you're talking about, oh, let's say you really want to own a piece of Berkshire Hathaway. You cannot, right? It's like, fuck, man, you either buy that one share or you don't. And I think A shares are like 100 over 1,000, if I remember correctly. Let me check on Berkshire Hathaway. How much is Berkshire Hathaway now? A shares. Okay, so one Berkshire Hathaway share is 321,700 US dollars, Class A. Okay, so you need what? Okay, so even if you own one share, right, it's fucking worth $321,700. No one majority cannot afford this share. Okay, no one can really afford this share. Majority of people cannot afford this share. And that is the problem, you see. So the moment security tokens are introduced, what would happen is that you are able to kind of obviously own, because it's still hopefully this term ERC20 will still be around to a certain extent, or maybe it comes as another form factor, right? But end of the day, you can take it out and it removes that custodial, or that custodial service. Maybe they can drop it in price or something. That means folks who want custodial services have to pay an extra fee. Folks who don't want custodial services can keep it for themselves. You see? So there's that option now. Right now, there's no option. Like right now, unfortunately, if I have traditional financial instruments, mostly are all custodial. So they will fucking charge me a fee, which maybe I'm not inclined to pay, especially if my holdings is very, very small, for example. Then I'm paying this custodial fee. I'm like, then it's eating away at my gains or something like that. So it's kind of like more comforting that I can own it. Yeah. So based on what we're seeing, right, and based on what we're recommending, I think there are certain values to EOS, Huobi, Binance, okay, and of course, hopefully NPXS. See, NPXS and EOS are in almost the same category. I mean, not in terms of business, but same category. Right now, they have product. A lot of startups have product these days, okay? But whether or not they can sell the product and whether that product generates revenue, unfortunately, no, they do not. In fact, if you talk about what products generate revenue, it's very simple. Take crypto grinders as per se. We don't have a physical product, but our product is an intellectual property, right? It's knowledge based, and we are offering that to you all. So in this case, it's either as an online course eventually or as a service, as what we're doing right now. So you guys are already helping the company generate revenue. We are we are already having sales, right, which is our subscription model, and you are of course generating revenue for the company, right? So we are already profitable, or we are already generating revenue. Most of these companies cannot say the same. So ask yourself one thing: how many of all these crypto projects are so intrinsically tied to the economy that they cannot sink? It makes no sense for them to sink. That means they are not here to be a cash grab. They are not here to be a scam. Think about it logically right now. I am someone who will look through the market, but sometimes after a while, I tend to shut down a little bit because I understand that no point being too open-minded when the underlying awareness, which is the people, not enough educators, that's for one, because everyone's just talking about the tech, you see? So, which is not wrong, but the tech talk appeals only to people who understand that. You see, if I was someone who was to go to a quantum summit and they were talking about nothing purely about tech, and I'm someone who cannot code, as much as I try to appreciate it, I am someone who cannot, because I cannot utilize whatever they are saying unless I go and learn how to code, which is another steep learning curve. But what I can do is that right now as an investor, because okay, I have money, I'm willing to part with it based on certain key parameters or circumstances, right? And that is why everybody is trying to have a valuation model for cryptocurrencies. But I just feel that whatever that the analysts behind these projects are trying to do, it is still too early. It's really still too early because there are not enough industry players to really formulate something. And these industry players are coming in, but there's only like one fella that is doing it right. And the rest have not been successfully able to replicate, replicate. And not only that, are they generating revenue? And so it becomes like we are putting our money into this space. And it seems like a little bit like a black hole. Because what happens is that even if you believe in a project, let's take quantum for example, you believe in a project, look at where quantum is. Our recommendations came back in when it was $30. And now people who came in, wherever $30, $15, you're looking at quantum now at $3 and freaking almost $3.50. Are they a good project? From what I still understand and what I still see, and from the communications that I'm getting, they're still working hard, because I still get PMs from their team, because they are working on trying to bring projects in to build on quantum, okay? And their existing projects are still looking for marketing efforts, because they are kind of like reaching some point in their roadmap that they would like to showcase it. So I can still see that, and the fact that the team is still together, okay, of course, naturally you have some people leaving, right, because they believe that, hey, there's still so much opportunities in the space, I shouldn't be tied down to one company, okay? And for Huobi, right, you see the way they expanded, but also internally, just for our private group and just to share with you, that there were people from the Singapore team that actually left. The correspondents that we used to have, they actually left and started to be advisors for their own projects, trying to strike it out, right? Because suddenly they make contacts, and then after they be thinking, fuck, if I'm working so hard for a basic salary, why don't I fucking just come up with the concept? Since I kind of know a little bit about how this all works, okay, I want to go and try to raise money on my own, since that I've been making network connections with the people who have the money. See, what's the problem with this? It boils down to greed. Okay, it boils down to greed, but at the same time, I see the reason why people do that. Okay, so let me go a little bit further. When an entity, it has grown to the size of like Huobi, right? They know the industry very, very well. Unlike the people who just joined, they think that they're going to be able to execute what Huobi did, or they would like to try to execute, maybe say 50, anywhere from 50 to 70%. But the main objective is just to raise some money, right? And then try to be a recognized industry player. But what they're going to see is that they're going to fall flat on their face. Okay, that's for sure. Because they were together, they were able to push the company forward. Now that they have split, right, in terms of talent, skills, and network, they're all representing different companies. And at the same time, these people are working with people they don't really know. And at the same time, it's going to be more challenging to execute because they're going to execute on something on what they know, or at least they're going to execute on a certain they're going to start their own project based on what they were working on. It makes sense, man. Come on. It's not like it's not like you worked in an exchange, right? And then you think, shit, exchanges make a lot of money. And if I'm someone who's spearheading the business and development aspect of exchange, why the heck would I care? Why would I want to create something else that I'm not familiar in? So you see, so these people left and they're trying to create their own exchange. But I tell you, I think they made a bad decision. I think for them to want to do that, they should probably try to do it once they see how Huobi has developed. Once there's a full something comes to fruition within the company that is significant enough, and they've seen it through. Unless they are so fucking cocksure that, okay, I definitely see where this is headed. I have the experience to pull it off. Okay, then it makes sense for them to leave. But majority are, when I know them, they're so fucking young. They're just young. And the fact that young is okay. I'm not beating down on young people. I'm just saying, when you're so young and you don't have the real skill sets yet, old money, when they look at you, right, they will see, okay, so you were only part of this team for a few months and then you leave. Okay. So unless you're confident to help me make a certain amount of ROI in that short period of time, I don't mind putting in a little bit with you, since I like you, but I don't know whether you're going to be a very good business person as a whole to run a whole company, because you couldn't even stay in one company just to be dedicated enough, right, to build it up, right? So to me, I look at it as, okay, fine. I kind of trust you in a sense that you might be able to make money in a short run. You raise enough, get me out. But I don't think you're going to be a successful business. This is how I would view that person, right? And no matter what, man, when you talk about business and dedication, and when you run a business, it's all about dedication. I am leaving for Europe in about a few days' time. And the reason why I'm going to Europe is just to really see what kind of adoption that we really have. As much as it's like a little bit of a family holiday, because my wife has been working really hard taking care of the kids and I'm hardly around all the time. But it doesn't mean that, my mind is not on this space. And when I say my mind is on this space, I'm really going to be connecting with people that I know in these countries, at least, right? And see where is it really at, and not just, you see, if I'm in Singapore and I can safely tell you that honestly, it's just nothing more than conferences upon conferences and virtual offices and small marketing teams in Singapore. But I don't see the actual use of the currency in my country. That's already a concern, isn't it? Isn't that already a red flag for all of us who are retail investors? So it's the same thing. And I'm sure that our group is international. Our group is an international group. We should come together and utilize these resources, right? Rather than always talk about technicals all the time, we have to kind of also take a step back and say, okay, simple stuff, man. How many of our friends are really talking about crypto? And when they talk about it, what kind of level are they talking about? What kind of level of conversation are we having? Are we really talking about the future tech side, or at least we understand where the smart money, is it really coming in? Do you have friends like that? Try to talk at that level and not just, okay, I mean, yeah, it's great to tell them, great to buy and everything like that. But when you tell them it's great to buy, why are they buying it? Can they exchange it for something tangible, or can they exchange it for an experience? So we have to kind of start thinking in a different way when we open up a conversation with someone new about cryptocurrency, right? And if not, then we don't open up the idea at all, because it's something that they cannot use. They cannot use it, guys. I mean, it's like, after I buy the Bitcoin, then what? It's fucking sitting in my ledger, and then I don't know. I didn't for sure my whole holiday I didn't pay anything in Bitcoin. None of the sites that I use, and these are all credible sites, they didn't say they accept Bitcoin for payment. They didn't. Neither did they accept Bcash or Litecoin. So we are now in a very dangerous spot, folks. We are now in a very dangerous spot, because when it's at such a high level, okay, they are working at that high level. They already cashed out on the market. Charlie Lee already cashed out a good portion. Obviously, the Winklevoss twins have already made their wealth long time ago on other entrepreneurial ventures. You have fucking Dogecoin. What's his fucking name? Something Palmer, Jason Palmer. Fucking Dogecoin. Cash out already. Who else? Ethereum, Vitalik. Fucker already cash out a good sum at 800, 900. Who are left back holding? All of us. You think about it, all of us are left back holding. So right now, right, what is our gamble? Our gamble is that the projects that right now CG recommends are going to be the ones that you can bang on, even though you may see it drop drastically. There's no other incentivization or satisfaction that this group will give me, or why I created this company, than to see it through on what we did. Because as a financial, we are not financial advisors who can give you financial advice due to the jurisdictions of your respective countries. But if we could, the advice that I would like to give you is that when you create a portfolio, it has to make sense for it to be in your portfolio, and not because someone else told you to buy it. Not because Ryan told you to buy it, not because CG told you to buy it, not because Zach told you to buy it. Fuck, please. This is really all about the underlying business. Can the business make money? Think simple. There are enough people in this group to kind of tell you that a lot of these things are BS. But we enjoy the process of being connected as a group, especially as an investor group. You don't get a fucking Berkshire Hathaway investor group coming together. Okay, maybe they do, right? But it's a very high level party, right? But when we talk about a online group like this right now, everybody can come together and start discussing about crypto. Hey, where the fuck's crypto going today? Haha, it's going down. Oh wow, it's going up. No one comes together in a Amazon share a Discord group or a equity Discord group. Those groups are existent only on Facebook. And they do have discussions on approaching the markets, but those equity traders are already moving towards the small and mid cap, because small mid cap are more appealing to new people who are coming into the options market, the equity market. It's like, oh, okay, let's play some penny stocks. So same thing. anyone who is an equity trader or anyone who is offering education in equity are now having to move their criteria to the small mid cap stocks and find the next top company that will potentially reach the ranks of the Amazons and whatever. We are now in the best place because it's almost the same thing. And not only that, it's so volatile, there are opportunities to make money. So it just depends on what asset class you are open to. Okay, and that is kind of like the gist of it right now, folks, is to really make sure that when we talk about portfolio allocation, we mean that when you allocate a certain aspect of your funds into your current portfolio, be very mindful that we are still very, very far away. Okay, and we may be wrong for a good period of time before we get it right, just so you know. But the fact that CG has enough experience to carry you through, okay, that's all I can say. We have enough experience to kind of assess and analyze the market to a certain extent, and also because we are still okay in terms of our influence, that people still bother to talk to us. Okay, so for now we will always leverage on that because we want to know what's happening in the market. That's the only way that we can stay relevant. Because if I don't continue to, or at least we as CG don't continue to keep networking and meeting more people within the space, we become irrelevant. Looking at the fucking chart, right, is good only for entry and exit. But I'm looking for fucking 10x, 100x gains. To look for 10x, 100x gains is not to fucking scalp trade for 1 to 3% every fucking day for how long? If you're talking about 10x, 100x, right, we're talking about staying invested in one. That means you're always dedicating an X amount of funds into a particular cryptocurrency that is going to do that for you. And that is the hard work there. Because the hard work is attaining the information that no one wants to divulge. Okay, so let's understand the difference between trading and real fundamental analysis and investing. Understand the difference. It is not as fast, it's fucking tedious, and at the same time, nobody really wants to do that because it's too slow. Also for the fact that there are not many people that are well connected. This is the difference. Okay, so right now, right, it's more of you see that's the thing, right? It's very cute. So we are now in this okay, so I would like to see and take some questions. Okay, so whatever questions that you all might have, feel free to answer them. I will try to answer them as much as possible. Okay, so okay, yeah, if you all have questions, right, feel free to post it, but I think I addressed it quite clearly. Okay, so if there are no questions, just feel free to post it in the group, and then of course I will upload this segment. Okay, and then enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you in the next stream.